Marvel and DC Comics didn't invent superpowers. Nature did it first, and honestly, nature did it better. One of these animals can survive in outer space. One of them never dies, and one of them is most likely sitting in your house right now. These are 10 real animals with actual superpowers, ranked from impressive to absolutely impossible. Dogs. The everyday companion sitting at your feet is hiding one of the most powerful sensory systems on the planet. Domesticated from wolves more than 15,000 years ago, the dog evolved alongside humans, and along the way, its nose became a biological instrument we still cannot replicate in any lab. Today, dogs work in airports, hospitals, disaster zones, and search teams across the world. A typical dog stands somewhere between the height of a coffee mug and a kitchen chair, depending on the breed. The nose itself is usually about the size of a walnut, wet, ridged, and constantly twitching. Here is where it gets unbelievable. A dog's sense of smell is up to 100,000 times sharper than yours. They have around 300 million scent receptors compared to your 6 million. They can smell time. They can smell fear. They can smell a single drop of blood diluted in an Olympic swimming pool. For us, a strong smell might mean a kitchen full of garlic. For a dog, walking into that same kitchen is like reading a detailed novel of everything that happened there for the past week. They hunt by tracking scent trails left behind hours, sometimes days earlier. A bloodhound can follow a person across miles of forest, locking onto skin cells that drift quietly through the air. The super smell of a trained dog can now detect cancer, malaria, COVID, and even an oncoming epileptic seizure, minutes before it happens. Eagle. The eagle is one of the oldest symbols of power in human history, and the reason is simple. It sees the world in a way no human ever will. Found on nearly every continent, eagles have ruled the skies for millions of years, and their eyes are still considered the gold standard of vision in the animal kingdom. A large eagle has a wingspan close to the length of a tall doorway, but the eyes themselves are only about the size of a grape. Despite that, each eye is actually larger than its own brain. An eagle can see roughly 4 to 8 times sharper than you. From the height of a 10-story building, it can spot a rabbit moving in the grass below. It sees ultraviolet light, which means urine trails left by prey actually glow against the ground. For a human, looking at the sun for too long causes damage. For an eagle, the eyes are protected by a special inner eyelid that wipes clean and shields against glare, letting it stare into bright skies without flinching. It hunts by soaring at heights where most animals never look up. Then, it locks onto a target, folds its wings, and dives at speeds approaching 100 miles per hour. The prey rarely sees what is coming. An eagle's superpowered eyes are so precise that, in flight, it can track a small fish swimming just beneath the surface of a moving river. Pit vipers. They can be found tucked into rocks, leaf litter, and tree branches natively across the Americas, Europe, and Asia. Spanning from cold temperate regions to tropical rainforests, they have a massive global footprint that covers most of the world. These reptiles have existed for tens of millions of years, and their hunting tool of choice is invisible to almost every other animal. This venomous snake is known for its incredible variety of colors, ranging from dull, earth-tone camouflage to incredibly vibrant neons. Their specific coloration depends heavily on their species and habitat. Most rely on their scales to blend into their surroundings to ambush prey. Pit vipers are about the length of a baseball bat, with thick, muscular bodies. Between each eye and nostril sits a small pit, roughly the size of a pencil eraser. That pit is the superpower. It detects heat. The snake essentially sees in thermal imaging, picking up the body warmth of prey from several feet away, even in complete darkness. Imagine looking through night vision goggles, except built into your face from birth. Their venom can cause swelling, bruising, and significant pain in humans. Most bites are treated successfully in hospitals, unpleasant, but rarely fatal with prompt care. For a small mammal, though, that same venom shuts the body down within minutes. It hunts by waiting. A pit viper can stay perfectly still for hours, sensing the heat signature of a warm-blooded creature approaching. The strike happens in a fraction of a second, faster than you can blink. Even with its eyes completely covered, a pit viper can still strike its prey with deadly accuracy. Mantis shrimp. In the shallow reefs of the Indian and Pacific Oceans lives a creature that looks like something painted by an artist after they chase an Adderall with a Red Bull. The mantis shrimp is small, vibrant, and equipped with eyes that seem to belong to another planet. Mantis shrimp usually grow to about the size of a pencil, with armored segments in electric blues, neon greens, and burning oranges. Its eyes sit on stalks and move independently. Us humans have 3 types of color receptors, which are specialized cells in the retina of the eye that detect color and fine detail in bright light. The mantis shrimp has 16. It sees ultraviolet, infrared, and polarized light all at once. Scientists still cannot fully describe what its visual world looks like. It also throws one of the fastest punches in nature. The strike accelerates faster than a bullet leaving a small handgun, and creates a flash of light and heat in the water. For a human, getting hit would feel like a sharp crack to the finger.
Ow, he hit me. Ow, that hurt.
For its prey, it is instant. It hunts by stalking crabs and snails along the reef, then unleashing that punch to shatter shells in a single blow. The boiling water and crushing pressure form a bubble that implodes into a ball of sound and light, reaching temperatures of 7,000 degrees, as hot as the surface of the sun. Electric eel. From the muddy rivers of the Amazon swims a fish that turned its own body into a battery. Despite the name, the electric eel is not actually an eel. It is a type of knife fish that evolved one of nature's most shocking weapons. A full-grown electric eel can roughly reach the height of a tall adult. Dark gray on top with a yellowish belly, its body is essentially a long living power cell. An electric eel can generate jolts of up to 600 volts. That is around 5 times the voltage of a household wall socket in the United States. For a healthy adult human, a single shock is painful and can knock you off your feet, but rarely causes lasting harm in shallow water. For a fish or frog nearby, that same pulse stops the heart and locks every muscle in place. It hunts in low visibility, using weak electric pulses like radar to map its surroundings. When prey is detected, it fires a high-voltage burst, paralyzes the target, and swallows it whole. When it feels like it, an electric eel can leap partly out of the water to press itself against a larger threat, delivering shocks directly through the air. Bombardier beetle. Crawling quietly through grasslands and forests on nearly every continent is a small insect with a chemistry set that would make Walter White proud. The Bombardier beetle has existed for millions of years, and its defense system is so precise that engineers have studied it to design better spray nozzles. This beetle is no larger than the size of a fingernail, equipped with a glossy shell in blacks, blues, and orange. The Bombardier beetle superpower is its chemical cannon. Inside its abdomen, the beetle stores 2 separate chemicals. When threatened, it mixes them in a reinforced internal chamber, triggering a reaction that explodes outward as a boiling spray of liquid at around 100 degrees Celsius. Getting hit would feel like a hot splash and sting on the skin. Tremendously uncomfortable. For an ant or a frog, it is a direct burn to the face that ends the encounter immediately. It does not hunt with this weapon. Instead, it uses it for defense. When a predator approaches, the beetle rotates its rear end like a tiny turret and fires the spray with surprising accuracy. The spray is released in rapid pulses, around 500 bursts per second, which keeps the beetle's own body from overheating. Pistol shrimp. In coral reefs around the world lives one of the loudest animals on Earth, and you would swim right past it without noticing. The pistol shrimp is small, shy, and armed with a claw that breaks the laws of what a tiny creature should be able to do. Usually about the size of your index finger, this gun-toting shrimp is striped in soft pinks, reds, or yellows. The pistol shrimp has 1 normal claw and 1 massively oversized claw. The superpower is in that claw. When it snaps shut, it does not actually touch its target. Instead, it fires a jet of water so fast that it creates a bubble. That bubble collapses with such force that it produces a flash of light, a temperature briefly approaching the surface of the sun, and a sound louder than a gunshot. Getting popped by one of these armed crustaceans feels like a sharp, intense sting, often described as a strong rubber band snap. For a small fish a few inches away, it is lights out instantly. It hunts by hiding in burrows or crevices, waiting for prey to drift past. Then comes the snap, a stunned fish, and a quick meal dragged back into the den. Interesting enough, a colony of pistol shrimp snapping together can create so much noise underwater that they can interfere with submarine sonar. Wood frog. In the cold forests of North America, stretching all the way into the Arctic Circle, lives a small amphibian that has solved one of biology's biggest problems. The wood frog can freeze solid in winter and then come back to life in spring. Wood frogs are brown or copper-colored with a dark mask running across each eye and grow to about the size of a golf ball. The superpower kicks in when temperatures drop. The wood frog's heart stops. Its breathing stops. Up to 65% of the water in its body turns to ice. For all practical purposes, the frog is no longer alive. The wood frog is harmless, calm, and small enough to sit comfortably in your palm. But for a predator hoping for a winter snack, a frozen frog under the leaves looks and feels like a stone. It hunts in warmer months, snapping up insects and spiders with a quick flick of the tongue. After being frozen to death all winter, when spring arrives, the frog slowly thaws. The heart begins to beat again, and within hours it hops away as if nothing happened. Tardigrade. Microscopic, slow, and almost impossible to kill, the tardigrade is the toughest animal ever discovered. It lives in moss, in soil, in deep ocean trenches, and on mountaintops. There is a strong chance there is one within a few feet of you right now. Tardigrade are far smaller than a grain of salt, with a chubby body, 8 stubby legs, and a face like a tiny vacuum nozzle. The tardigrade is pure survival. It can enter a state called cryptobiosis, where it expels almost all the water from its body and becomes a tiny dried-out husk. In this form, it has survived boiling temperatures, near absolute zero, the vacuum of outer space and radiation that would kill almost anything else. It poses no danger to humans at all. You have likely swallowed thousands of them in your lifetime without ever knowing due to their microscopic size. It feeds by piercing plant cells and small microorganisms with sharp mouth parts, then drinking the contents. Tardigrades actually have been launched into space, left exposed to the vacuum, and brought back home alive and well. If that's not a superpower, I don't know what is. Immortal jellyfish. Drifting through warm coastal waters around the world is a creature that has, in a very real sense, cracked the code of aging. Real name, Turritopsis dohrnii. The immortal jellyfish is tiny, transparent, and about the size of a fingernail with a clear bell shape. This jellyfish is capable of something no other animal can reliably do. It has the superpower of age reversal. When this jellyfish is injured, starving, or simply growing old, it can transform its adult cells back into a younger stage of life, named the polyp stage, settling onto a surface as if it were a baby again. Biologically immortal. In theory, it can repeat this cycle indefinitely. It carries a mild sting, similar to brushing against a nettle. A little burn, a little itch. Nothing too serious. For tiny plankton, that same sting is fatal. It hunts passively, drifting along ocean currents with tentacles trailing behind, catching whatever small life floats into its grasp. While most living things are racing toward old age, the immortal jellyfish quietly proves that biology has at least one loophole.